Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to Fury Software's newest game, which just came out yesterday. That is Strategic Command World War II World at War. This game is a grand strategy game that puts you in the shoes of either the Axis or the Allies as you navigate your way through the Second World War, making various decisions and strategic decisions that will influence the course of the war, whether it goes a more historical route or something that takes a bunch of divergence. Diplomacy is involved in the game, warfare is involved in the game, and also managing your industrial decisions is a factor in this game. With that being said, this is part 6 of our series, and we have begun the invasion of France. We're driving toward Paris. We have not yet conquered Paris, but the German war machine in Europe is going strong. Poland has fallen, Denmark has fallen, Norway has fallen, and now we're just at the doorstep of Paris with having recently conquered both Belgium and Holland. On the Japanese theater, they're a little bit more quiet. They're currently only at war with the Republic of China. We're trying to keep the communists out of it. So far, we've been successful there, and we've had a great deal of success recently in the southern half of China, taking Changsha, taking Nanning, and driving now, hopefully, perhaps, on the Chinese capital at Chongqing, although terrain in the Chinese theater is always a big obstacle and is something that's kind of hampering us. With that being said, guys, this all was taken from a live stream from a couple of days ago, so I'm actually going to go ahead and turn my commentary over to myself from that live stream, and I'll catch you guys back up at the end. But I hope you enjoy the video. I hope you guys enjoy the series. Let me know your thoughts below, and away we go. Where were we? Fighting in China? I'd like to pull these guys out and get them some reinforcements, but I can't. All right, so Alright, so we're going to continue building up our resources here. We're having success in the Chinese theater in the south. We've taken Changsha, we've taken Heiyang, we've taken Guilin, we've taken Nanning. We've broken through here in the south. We destroyed the Chinese Air Force, and we're threatening the flank of the main Chinese line here just to the west of Wuhan. Let's go ahead and reinforce those guys. Meanwhile, it probably would be nice to have more of a firm line here. We've kind of pulled a few units back. But overall, I'm pretty happy with our position in China. We're a little bit vulnerable in the north and in the center, but I don't think any real risk of a Chinese breakthrough, per se. The terrain works to their advantage, but it also works to ours if they're going to be on the counteroffensive. Meanwhile, we're trying to drive inland to Quichao. We've got this garrison unit here reduced. I imagine they'll move an army forward to these defensive positions to sort of counter us. I think we're going to move these tactical bombers a little bit south in the interest of perhaps providing a little bit of support to this southern drive. Meanwhile, the other risk, obviously, is if the Chinese have any partisans sort of crop up. But I think that does it for the Chinese theater. The European theater's already concluded. I don't really want to attack with these guys. And maybe we'll attack Paris next turn. You know, why don't we try it now? Yep, well, that was about what we expected it to be. And again, foolish me. For fuck's sake, just stop killing us. Alright, so those were dumb attacks. We'll end this turn, move forward to sort of the, I guess the end of July, and then see what happens. Partisan activity in China, it looks like rebels have risen in Amoy, so we're going to have to pull some troops back. Fortunately, I think my SNLEF boys can move in there and potentially deal with them. We lost that coastal region. Additionally, we could probably bring battleships in to bombard the city. UK is imposing economic sanctions in Iraq, and there is a pro-Axis coup rising in Iraq. The British already have forces ready to deploy, but at least it'll temporarily occupy the attention of the British. Okay. Chinese look like they just raised a new unit up here. They They just added reinforcements to this garrison unit in Quichao. And again, I'm sorry guys with pronunciations, it's definitely not my strong suit. Interestingly enough, the Burma Road theoretically is just cut by that, wasn't it? By us driving down this roadway? I don't think there's a roadway for that Burma Road to bring supplies in anymore. Alright, some air battles going on here. They're trying to hit our mechanized infantry there. And I don't know why the French tanks withdrew from the outskirts of Paris. It's like they were trying to retreat away from the city for whatever reason. I don't know why they'd do that. Meanwhile, the British are advancing in North Africa against our Italian forces there. As we all know in history, things don't go well for the Italians until Rommel and the Africa Corps show up. But the Chinese are definitely advancing in the north of China, despite being driven back in the south of China. And the Allied invasion of Ethiopia is continuing. Additional reinforcements are being drawn up here in western China. So you can see the Chinese advancing on a broad front in the center of China. Unlimited manpower, as it always seems. Pressing us back there, even though we're gaining in the south. Your attacks failed for reasons you're left to guess. Tortuga, well, the game does give you some reasons for why your attacks fail, or lets you figure them out over time. Alright. One of them is the defenders often have good terrain in China, and the Chinese nationalists aren't exactly terrible. Alright, so we inflicted some 10 industrial point damage on the British. The Italian embassy in Baghdad. Alright, do we want to give 30 industrial points to rebels in Iraq? I think the answer to that is yes. You know, Japan has some tanks that are ready. I think I'm going to deploy them. I can't deploy them this turn, though. So we'll do elite reinforcements for aircraft. Elite reinforcements for aircraft. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm going to sail my battle fleet down here because they're actually going to have something to shoot at. Chinese nationalist partisans rising in Amoy. It's not a wise decision, boys. You're going to bring the whole Japanese fleet down on you. Because why the hell not? Alright, we'll pull some of these troops back. You can see here a whole new Chinese defensive position here. These guys, I think, are engineers. But a whole nother defensive position here in front of Changsha. Fortifications destroyed by ground combat. There you go. So we just destroyed that garrison unit. And we destroyed the fortifications. I'm not going to advance. I'd rather the Chinese advance a unit somewhere where we can attack them with 3-on-1. So we'll leave that as is. It'd be real great if some of these troops could advance up to this hex. You know? Just be useful. Alright, those reinforcements came in. Chinese corps here is a little bit exposed. So let's go ahead and try and knock it out. There we go. Alright, I'm not going to advance into that death trap, but I will be happy that the Chinese just lost another unit that they're going to have to replace. Very nice. We just drove that unit back. I'll advance that guy. Alright. We attacked. Gained nothing. We immediately retreated. So advanced, just to kind of straighten out the front line, get some intel on what's up there, then pulled back right away. So drove back 2 Chinese units in this northern offensive that they've kind of launched. Ideally, I can swing some of these army units around. Problem is I can't advance anyone into these mountains. I don't know if you have mountain troops in this game or not. I don't get the sense that you do. Alright, so these guys are going to get bombed the fuck out next turn by a whole bunch of battleships coming down. The Baghdad guys are kind of just screwed. But that's okay. They're just going to tie up some British troops. These guys, can you advance on Khartoum? An Italian garrison unit in East Africa advancing on the capital of Sudan might cause the British a little bit of headache. Go ahead and reinforce these garrison troops. Alright, so again, trying to threaten these British troops' supply line, kind of getting around them a little bit. Mogadishu, meanwhile, is being defended by the Italians. We're pouring some resources in just to kind of keep it as something the British have to deal with, so they can't immediately reposition some of those troops. Oh, nice. Okay. So we're losing some casualties for these troops, but we are inflicting some on the British as well in North Africa. That's not a good situation to be down to 4, though 4 strength. We'll have to reinforce them next turn, but nonetheless, inflicting some casualties on the British desert rats is always a positive outcome. I can't really reinforce them down there, though. Go ahead and bomb the troops in Marseille. Should be able to reduce the city here for the Italians. Our Italian military has not been quite as, I don't know if incompetence is the right word, but they haven't been quite as sort of stymied by the French defense here in the south of France as perhaps historically was the case. Marseille fell. Montpellier fell. Alright, so Marseille has fallen to the Italians. And now the the south of France is exposed to the Axis advance. Meanwhile, Paris is about to be surrounded. If it doesn't fall this turn, that would be probably impressive for them, but also maybe not good for the French city. So we're just going to bomb the hell out of Paris now. Looks like most of the aircraft have been withdrawn too. I'm not getting any interceptors. So constant bombing raids on these defenders has reduced their morale to 19%. Is there any way we're going to knock him out this turn? Let's move over here. Doesn't seem like it. Maybe our mechanized troops will finish him off. There you go. We got him. Paris has fallen, folks. Paris has fallen. The French headquarters to the east of Paris has also fallen. We're flanking them. We're flanking the bastards. Okay. Oh no! Enemy tanks. Pull back. So we've taken Caen, but they have armor in Cherbourg. We've taken Tours. So we're kind of advancing into the heart of France. At this point, I think they will surrender at the end of this turn. So it probably doesn't make a lot more sense to take more casualties at this point. Let's go ahead and reinforce. Okay. All right. So I think that'll about do it for this turn. I think France has fallen. Paris has fallen. We've driven south to Tours. The Italians have kind of taken Marseille and are not really breaking out. That might be the wrong word. But have kind of found themselves with an open road here in the south. I wouldn't be surprised if next turn we can link the Germans and the Italians up, splitting the west coast and the east coast of France off. All of France's economy is centered in and around Paris. Historically, all the rail lines led to Paris. So they're really, most of their industrial base is also captured and destroyed here in the north. So I think that'll be good for us. I think we've succeeded in defeating Paris here by August of 1940. They'll probably surrender immediately, and we'll begin the work of finishing them off next. Meanwhile, Japan is having success in China, and that's going to be the end of that turn for them. So let's move forward here to October, I guess. French morale suffers with the fall of Paris. Germany celebrates the fall of Paris. British morale is dropping. Oh shit, I forgot my naval units again. They also lost Marseille. With French morale low and their military soundly defeated, the newly appointed Prime Minister Marshal Pétain is willing to sign an armistice with us. Basically, we can either agree to accept French surrender and create a Vichy France, which is sort of a quasi-independent but also somewhat subservient France, or we can continue to fight them till they're completely destroyed. If we have to completely destroy them, however, then we have to conquer Algiers. And then if we do take Algiers in North Africa, then we can potentially entice Spain to join. So you have a better chance of having Spain join the war if you completely crush France. But the problem is if we refuse, then the French will raise substantial new forces in North Africa. So frankly, as far as I'm concerned, let's go ahead and create Vichy France. France surrenders. Germany plunders almost 1,000 industrial points. We're going to upgrade the port at Saint-Nazaire to allow us to construct stuff here, some new warships and whatnot. And then we're going to start producing human torpedoes for 25 MPPs for the Italians. Meanwhile, Japan has the option to break apart the Indochina Expeditionary Army that's being raised in Tokyo for some additional garrison units. You can get 4 garrison units rather than raising a new army, and I'm actually going to do this as a garrison unit because I would prefer the additional garrison units so we can kind of help pacify China. It seems like we have enough troops in China at the moment, but we don't have enough garrison units in China to keep the pressure up and keep the partisans down, so I gladly do that. Meanwhile, there you can see the Third Republic is abolished. Algeria is declaring loyalty to Vichy France. So is Tunis. Syria is declaring loyalty to Vichy France. French West Africa is declaring loyalty to Vichy France. Equatorial Africa is declaring neutrality. That's a warning sign. They're going to end up joining the Free French. Same as French Polynesia. Syria is leaning toward the Axis due to diplomatic pressure. Germany annexes Alsace. And that's one of those other things that I didn't really realize fully was that the French and the British actually had some dogfights over Syria when it was Vichy France. Right, so the Iraqis are strengthening their resolve. Germany's occupying the Channel Islands. Japan announces the Greater East Prosperity Sphere. Spanish forces enter the International Protectorate of Tangier, making progress on various scientific developments. There you go. Germany has over 2,000 industrial points. Japan over 1,000. Italy over 400. So this is going to be a very good turn to figure out where we want to invest our resources. Okay. UK is getting destroyers for bases from the United States. What was that? What are they railing in? Or out? I didn't really see. Fuck. Maybe that sub can stay hidden. Again, I completely forgot about my subs. Oh, shit. Survive, Italian army. Retreat. Retreat and live to fight another day. That should be the Italian army's mantra in World War II. Okay. Artillery. Goddamn British artillery. Just what we need, a well-equipped British force in North Africa. Shit. No! I'm ignoring the Navy and it's killing me. Looks like there's mud in and around here. British morale is shaken by France's surrender. Germany, meanwhile, is obviously happy about it. The long-range British... whatever. Axis raiders disrupt UK convoys. Charles de Gaulle is saying that France will fight on. Leon Trotsky is dead. Calculating supply. Deutschland is sunk. Alright, so the US is telling us not to interfere with any countries in their hemisphere. What a shock. Alright, new sub, and the Bismarck has arrived. Alright, look at these guys. And a port to repair. Okay, meanwhile we gotta get these other guys while I still remember to send them home. Ah, no! Jesus Christ. Fuck. Get the hell out of Dodge. Actually, why am I doing that? Salem South. Go to France now. We've got those French bases. Let's use them. Meanwhile, in North Africa. Meanwhile. Let's reinforce these guys. They can get full supply. We can get them up to 10 now. What about these guys? Only 4. So they're going to fall back. Well, we need the reinforcements, so let's get them up to 7. These guys can't reinforce, can they? Nope. Alright, so our bases here are defended. Looks like these might be their long-range British Special Forces units trying to move in. Can these guys advance toward Khartoum? Enemy contact. Yeah! Let's try and take the capital of Sedona. Wow. Try and take the capital of Sudan. Meanwhile, we just cut off these British soldiers from their line of supply. 2 British corps surrounded. Alright, Mogadishu reinforce. The foxy Italians. being foxy and like. Alright, so they can get out of this pretty easily, but it might cause them to retreat. If not, their supply situation's going to get worse. They're actually both out of supply now. Just by that simple action. So maybe we can destroy the British in Ethiopia. That would be something, wouldn't it? Yeah. Drive those special forces back. Alright, so that's good. Meanwhile, in France, let's reinforce these guys, and then we're going to have to start moving them around. But for the moment, let's get everybody up to full strength. We'll have to worry about upgrades as well. We need to get everybody up to the newest equipment. But I also want to make sure that they're all at full strength before we go into war again. We'll probably be dealing with the Balkans here before too long, and then Russia within about a year. Less than a year, probably. So we're going to have to deal with that. We're also going to want to probably raise some garrison troops to deal with France and garrisoning France. We'll need to upgrade some of these tanks as well. I think actually we have a lot of upgrades that we need to do. But again, the key first for me is getting everybody up to full strength, and then we can worry about upgrades after that, now that we largely have peace in the West. Alright, these guys... The interesting thing is we could also decide to move our some of our Italian forces to North Africa. It's either that or moving them to the Balkan theater, where we're inevitably going to be at war before too long. Let's put this garrison up here in Copenhagen. I want to raise a garrison for The Hague, Brussels, Paris, probably Nates. I want to put probably a bunch of garrison units for the Germans. So how many do we want to raise? They're pretty cheap, right? Infantry and anti-aircraft makes them 70 MPPs. So let's go ahead and purchase 6 of them, maybe. Oh shit, I gotta individually do that for every one. Alright, what's our production catalog look like? They're going to come in September, so I think they'll all be ready next month. So we just raised 6 garrison units. Maybe 7. That'll garrison the western portion of the empire while we swing east. I'm not even going to pretend to try and deal with Britain in a Battle of Britain or anything like that. I'm going to operate him to over here. Didn't reinforce him. Alright, so I think that'll do it for this turn. I'll move some of these soldiers back. Some of these guys can start moving. Since I'd rather move them by sort of manually if I can. We'll leave one fighter here in Antwerp. Maybe one over here on the west coast. So kind of 2 fighter groups in the event the British decide to start a bombing campaign. I'm sure they will. Okay. So I think that does it for the Italians and the Germans. Now let's move down to the Japanese here. The SNLEF forces. Moving in. Use our naval gunfire here to bombard these guys. I think it'll do more damage probably to the city than it will to their actual combat effectiveness. But it should at least hurt their morale, I would think. The interesting thing is I took some damage on one of my battleships as if, you know, they have naval guns to shoot back. I took it on 2 ships. Come on, man. Alright, let's set this mode to bombing. Okay. I don't really know which one of those is better. But their morale should basically be 0. They're getting hit like crazy. Okay. Suddenly F forces will arrive soon. Meanwhile, the 17th Korean Army. Reinforce. Alright, so this will probably be my last turn as I can kind of finish this up, guys. So just bear with me one more moment and we'll be getting going here in just a second. Alright, so reforming a solid front line in the center of the Chinese theater now. Okay, sort of stopping the advance in the north. Reinforce those guys. Can't believe that corps does so poorly relative to the rest of the troops. Alright, can we bomb these guys? Alright. What I'm confused about is, like, I don't know how to move all these troops to where I want to move them to. These guys can't move south or along these mountains or anything, so they're all kind of stuck. Naval units there. Let's reinforce the aircraft. Are these the new garrison units that we just raised? Okay. So I think we'll move these guys to the north. And these guys will take in the south. We need a bunch more in the south. We're also going to move our armor to the south as well. To that city once we get it liberated. Alright, so that should do that. August 1940. France has fallen. Germany is the master of Western Europe. Japan is driving deep into China, threatening the Republic of China's very existence. All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here and end this episode on that sort of definitive and very epic conclusion there. So I hope you guys are enjoying this series. That was a really brief summary of the current state of affairs. We're into the fall of 1940. Germany is fighting well. We now are going to need to turn our sights east because I don't think I'm anywhere near ready for an invasion of Britain, and I don't think I want to try. So we'll probably just shift forces east and kind of get ready for probably eventually invading the Soviet Union, while also kind of dealing with the Balkans as well. But until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying I hope you're enjoying this series. Let me know your thoughts below as always, and we'll see how things progress next time. But until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you very much for watching, and until next time, I'm out.